All right, listen, I got to tell you, Ja fell off the ladder. He fell from 4th to off the ladder. Sorry, he's now missed 20 games. They're 18-2 without him. Ja off the ladder. So who's new to the ladder? Well, let me show you. Maybe a couple new faces? Steal a line from Wilds. Number 6, Jason Tatum.
Let's go.
Jason Tatum. Go collect your Eastern Conference Player of the Month award right now. 34, 7, and 5 on 54, 47, 91 splits for the hottest team in the Eastern Conference, Jason Tatum. He gets the 6th spot on the ladder. Barely ahead of him, the hottest team in the Western Conference, the hottest team in basketball, and by hot I mean best record all year. They might win 67 games, Devin Booker and the Phoenix Suns. Booker a humble 27, 5, and 5. Again, the Suns might win 67 games. He has to get serious ballot consideration. However, those two guys in 5th and 6th, there is a big gap between them and the person in 4th who has moved up from 5th in my previous MVP ladder, Nikola Jokic. Jokic is shooting 60% from the field this month. He's 26, 14, and 8. Obviously an insane PER. He has moved up to number 4 on the MVP ladder. What is preventing him from being higher? His team's the 6th seed. We've given out in modern NBA history 1 MVP to a player on a team that's seeded that poorly. It was Russell Westbrook's MVP that everyone immediately regretted except for Broussard, who still claims that was a good vote. Number 3 on the MVP ladder. You saw him last night. Joel Embiid. I almost feel badly about having him here, but he's had 3 opportunities in the last 2 weeks for a statement win against somebody else on this ladder, against the Suns, against Jokic, against Giannis. Embiid, to his credit, has played well or very well in all of those games, but the Sixers have lost all 3 of them, so you're probably not going to be the 1 seed. It's just hard for me to make the argument that Embiid, as great as he's been, has been better than either of the next 2 guys. Number 2 was number 1. Luka has fallen down to number 2. Luka's number 2 on the ladder. So listen, Luka, he was so far behind, he needed to continue February into March. In February, he was 35 points a game. In March, he's only 30 points per game, so he has dropped 1 spot. However, the Mavs are going to be the 3 seed. The Mavs might end up with the 3rd most wins in the entire NBA. And it's a one-man show every single night. All the Nuggets fans who are arguing, look at what Jokic is doing with his teammates. Well, Luka has equivalent teammates and his team's better because Luka's been better. Luka's been exceptional. However, Luka's exceptionalness, if you will, really only translates to one end of the court, even though the Mavs have been a great team defense under Jason Kidd. The number 1 guy on the ladder is the best player in the league. He's won 2 of the last 3 MVPs, and he's won the last Finals MVP, and he's Giannis, and he showed it again last night. We'll show you the highlights in just a moment. But Giannis on the year, 30, 12, and 6, an insane PER nearly identical to Jokic's, and is just clearly the best 2-way player in the league. Clearly, with respect to Jaren Jackson Jr., the best defensive player in the league. And last night, let me just show you 4 plays from last night quickly that encapsulate why Giannis is on a different level than everybody else. The first one is how he ended the 3rd quarter, and I think we showed it to you earlier. I think we can show it to you right here. In the 3rd quarter, there is not another player in the league doing this. Not another guy. So he does that, and then not another player in the league doing that. That was a terrible pass. And then it's like, oh, okay, how are you going to guard me? Force me into this? In your eye with a minute and a half left. And then how are we going to seal the game? Oh, another thing. I'm the only guy in the league that can do all 4 of these things in a season, much less in a game, in essentially 1 quarter. No one is, Brew, I implore you to consider this. You won't regret the vote. There is a 0% chance that if you fill out your ballot and you put Giannis at the top, that in a few years you're going to be like, I shouldn't have done that. And I know you don't regret many votes, but in your prestigious voting history, I'm sure there's a few that you might want back. You won't regret this one. He's the best player. They're going to win the championship. At least you believe they're going to make the finals again. He does it on both ends. His numbers are off the charts. Giannis is the league MVP, as much as it hurts for me to downgrade my large adult Slovenian son, but I'm dripping in objectivity, so I must.
All right, Nick. Usually you know that I haven't had a lot of love for the tiers, NFL, or the ladder. But I'm going to give you credit.
Jealousy.
This is a good ladder. There's two exceptions, but this is a good ladder. One, I don't think you need the huge gaps, because I don't think the gaps are all that huge. But I like the guys you've got on the ladder. Here's my one change. Embiid goes from 3 to 1. All right, and then you got it right. Embiid number 1, then Giannis, Luka, Jokic, and Book as far as 5 on the ballot. And Tatum, I like him at 6. All right, but I got Embiid. And here's my criteria. I'm gonna let America in on my voting criteria. I am an official voter. Here's what I use. We start with individual success and dominance, right? And look, you mentioned Giannis's numbers. They're virtually identical with Embiid's, right? You both of them 30 and 12.
Sure.
Defensively, Giannis is actually slightly ahead in terms of ratings. Embiid is slightly ahead of Giannis in terms of defensive rating. And Embiid, you're right, Giannis is a better passer. Embiid's a better three-point shooter by a mile. So I've got that as even in their one-on-one matchups, right? They played each other twice this year. Giannis has averaged 36 and 12. Embiid has averaged 35 and a half and 14. So it's very close, so I gave that to both. Secondly, team success. 1-loss record, seeding. Right now, Milwaukee is 1 game up on Philly. I got to give that identical as well because there's still some games left. Philly could end up ahead. It could end up tied.
Agreed.
They're both close. All right, now we go to supporting cast. Here's where Embiid moves ahead. Obviously, Giannis has had his second and third best players, Chris Middleton and Drew Holiday, all season. Okay, they have been whole for the most part. Brook Lopez, a role player, has been out, but they've been whole. Embiid lost his second best player all season. James Harden is there. He's played 15 games. Now you got Tyrese Maxey, great season, but he's a second-year kid who's kind of come out of it. So in supporting cast, advantage Embiid. Off the court factors, Ben Simmons. All right, Embiid not only had to deliver on the court to make up for Simmons, and they have remained a top 10 defense with Embiid anchoring it, but also mentally. Ben Simmons just totally disrespected the entire team. Wouldn't return calls. Embiid called him his brother on opening night. Hey, we support our brother Ben. Meant nothing. Ben just whatever. And even talking to the guys.
That's fair.
And he had to manage that on the court and in the locker room and keep his guys together. He did it. Obviously, Giannis doesn't have it. Historical precedent. And this is important, Nick. This is why one reason I didn't vote Steve Nash MVP for his third year, tried to get 3 in a row.
Yeah.
Wilt Chamberlain, Bill Russell, Larry Bird, the only three in a row. Can't put Nash in that category. And you know this, Nick.
Sure.
Michael Jordan was the best player in the league, 10 straight years, whatever. He didn't win MVP every year. LeBron, best 10 straight years, didn't win MVP every year. And usually, this is important because you know this, Nick, you're doing your top 50 for your podcast. We use these MVP tallies in rankings. How many did Kareem have? How many did LeBron have? Durant, Giannis. This is important. And since we judge those guys by a certain criteria, we should do the same. If we all of a sudden go, you know what?
Agree.
Let's just start giving it to the best player, right? Now, and Giannis wins it for the next 7 years. It's not fair to LeBron and Jordan and Kareem and all the guys in the past.
But let me just respond quick, because I get your argument. I get the. Go ahead, Brew. Go ahead and finish. Because I understand what you're saying.
Well, I was gonna say usually when it's close, and it's close. There's an argument for Giannis, and you made a good one.
You give it to the new guy.
But when it's this close, the new guy generally gets it if one guy has a couple of them. And Malone, Karl Malone, Derrick Rose, Kevin Durant over LeBron. So That's another factor. So that's why I'm voting
all
for
I would
Embiid
say
right
quickly
now
to that
MVP.
is I think that you made a strong case, and that's why I said it pained me to put Embiid third. But Wilds, what I would say is the historical precedent to me, I would have put the check mark in Giannis's favor. Because Giannis is going to end up one of the 15 greatest players ever. And those are the guys with 3+ MVPs. Giannis is going to, and so I don't think it's those guys won 3 MVPs in 4 years, and 5 years, and 6 years. Bird obviously won 3 in a row. I think it's totally apropos, Wilds, to put Giannis in that exact category. But go ahead, Wilds.
I agree. Well, just for the record, Broussard, if you want to add another category, just for food for thought, I think the MVP should be more like the heavyweight championship belt. There's just one of them, and you have to win. You have to take it from me in overwhelming fashion, or I get to keep it, because Jordan did deserve all those MVPs, and we can't do 2 wrongs to make it right. But I want to get to this, Broussard, because you're going to have an emergency meeting of your fellow MVP voters. Tim Bontemps did a straw poll. It was pretty pervasive how many people that he talked to. And he's got Joker, number 1. Embiid 2, Giannis 3. Joker getting 62 first place votes. Giannis only getting 9. Embiid gets 29. I mean, granted, this came out before last game, and I don't think one game will change it that much. But you talk about historical precedent. Do you think that this straw poll is indicative of the overall voting voting team, whatever you want to call it?
Yes.
And that Joker is actually going to win it?
I think Joker right now might win it. And I think it'll be, as far as historical precedent, where there's 2 things, Brew, and you need to get on the conference call with the actual voters, that they're going to break the history on this. Because the other thing that is happening right now is they have made Embiid and Jokic on All-NBA eligible at center and forward. So they both could be first team. And it's like, oh, okay, well, they're going to be top 5 MVP. Why not? Here's why not. Wilton Russell, 1 spot, first team All-NBA. Shaq, Akeem, Robinson, 1 spot, first team All-NBA. Kareem and Moses and McAdoo, 1 spot, first team All-NBA. But they're bending the rules now for Jokic or for Embiid, depending on how you want to look at it. It's already hard enough to do historical comps. If we twist the rules for one of the standard awards, then it becomes impossible. And it's the same thing when you say historical precedent, Brew. I've gone over this before. The 12 guys to ever win back-to-back. It's 11 of the 16 greatest players ever and Steve Nash. And if you throw Jokic in that room, he's going to be standing in the corner with Nash as opposed to with Kareem and Michael and LeBron saying, how did we get here? And it's like, I don't know, the voters went crazy for a few years. It's nuts.
Thanks for watching. Subscribe here to get the latest from the show. Also, be sure to check out more of the best clips from First Things First, or go watch a few segments from our other shows on FS1.